You're watching America Trends. I'm Mary Burke Godwin, and I am chatting with Olivia Rutman. She's the founder of Kids Care Finder. You guys, this is a one-stop shop for childcare and child-related resources for kids of all ages. We've been talking about young kids, but it's also, you said, for kids of all ages.
Yeah, so we really are targeting, different categories that serve each age bucket, right? So childcare is really for that kind of under 5 grouping, right? But then for school age kids, we have summer camps and after school programs, and drivers has been a very popular one to help get them to all their activities.
Oh my gosh, that's genius.
And then all the way up through teens, where we'll have driver's ed or life skill classes, volunteer opportunities, things that they have to do to help keep teens busy and engaged. So yeah, it's really kids of all ages.
You hit two big things I remember. Then it was summer school or summer camps.
Yes.
Because working parents, you're like, wait, come June, there's no place for them to go. Oh my gosh, what do we do? And then we did the weirdest summer camps too, because we didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I would just do what my neighbor was doing or whatever.
It's a struggle.
And then driver's ed, that's a big one, because we found one and we didn't end up really liking it. And so now I'm searching for a new one. So I'm gonna be hitting you up for that. And so that reminds me, tying back into what we were talking about before the break, is safety issues, which was a huge, besides, money, how am I going to afford all this? It's also, like you were saying, who am I going to trust to take care of my baby?
Yes.
So it's a big, because there are a lot of safety issues involved. So how is it, that process for you, vetting these places and these facilities?
Yeah, so ultimately it's up to the parents to decide, is this person the right fit? But we try to give you as many tools to help you make that decision as we can. So all providers on our site that do anything in the childcare space either have to be license checked, where we verify their license with the state who's done the background check and all that, or the unlicensed provider has to be background checked to be listed on our site. We also have reviews, so parents can hear from other parents about how their experiences were.
That's great.
And we allow the providers to write, a free-form description, even upload a little introduction video before you reach out, so you can kind of get that feel and vibe before you reach out to interview them. And then we give the parents some additional background check options that they can run before hiring. So once you like somebody and you think maybe they're the fit, you can take the time to run an even more comprehensive background check to really make sure that you feel comfortable.
That's great. Are there like video tours or, like you mentioned a video, but that's nice to be able to see the facility, because I remember spending so much time going to these places and then walking and saying, oh, turning right around and going back out because it wasn't the vibe.
I've done that
you have to visit in person for sure to get that vibe check, is the term that the kids use these days.
Yeah, but sometimes with a little video, you can kind of tell in advance if it seems like it might be good or not. So that's why we try to do that, right? So you're not just mindlessly touring all these places where it really may not be a good fit. So you can kind of tell in advance, so much detail about the program, what they offer and all of that, and get a little bit of that vibe check in advance, so that if you're going to tour, you're feeling really good about it.
Right. This is incredible. I really love this. And I know that your goal is to ultimately go nationwide with this, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of nationwide, America, I have this little stat here, currently in the middle of a child care crisis. Per the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, 100,000 Americans have been forced to stay home from work each month because of child care problems. And there's this so-called child care cliff. So talk to me about this.
So the child care cliff is, so really there was a lot of emergency funding that was provided during COVID to a lot of the child care facilities, because some of them weren't able to operate. Some of them had to operate in a reduced capacity. Some had to close entirely. So there was some funding that the federal government provided that just expired here the last couple months. So there's a big, uneasy, uncertain feeling about what's going to go on as we go into next year. Are a lot of these child care places going to close because they don't have that additional funding? And how's that all going to pan out? So if we have even less child care operators in the market and in the economy, then that's going to force that many more parents to not have options for care and have to leave the workforce.
And it does, the burden falls on the woman, I would say, most of the time.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm throwing out a statistic that I'm making up, but it's 90, let's say, percent of the time. As is a lot of the research on these places. I mean, that's the fact of the matter. So there aren't enough, Melinda Gates was quoted as saying, there aren't enough companies working on market-based solutions to the caregiving crisis. A key reason why is that there isn't nearly enough venture capital funding flowing to female founders. The face of VC needs to change. So I thought this was really, really interesting. I'm hearing all about female cancers that haven't gotten research because the money's not going to them. You know, we can do prostate cancer, we can cure all these male cancers, but, and then this opened my eyes to, also female owned companies. What happens to them when they have babies? So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, Melinda's a smart woman, and she knows what she's talking about. So right now, about 2% of venture capital goes to women. And so as you kind of look at why are all these female-centric issues so underfunded, well, it's because men are doing all the funding. So right now, you know, men are investing, and some of it, you know, is even driven by sort of media and surroundings to say, you know, everything that goes to men, say be aggressive and take chances and take risks, and things to women are be conservative and you know, don't take too much risk. And they say women are excellent givers to charity, so we're some of the biggest donors when it comes to charitable contributions, but women tend not to invest. And so that's what we really need, is we need women investing in women, and that's really what's going to move the needle and change the world. So if women are funding research, women are funding childcare, women are funding all of these other things, it's going to empower more women to be able to step up and come up with solutions. And it's going to make those investors richer, because female-led companies are outperforming male-led companies in terms of profitability and revenue. So this is not charity. This is good business sense.
Right. And I'm forgetting the name. Sylvia Ma is a friend of mine, and she owns investment.
Stella, yes.
Stella, that's what it is, yes. So she's a friend of mine, and she is one of she is so driven and helps female entrepreneurs. She's been on the show a few times, and then had some of her business owners on this show. She's incredible. I'm glad you know who she is.
Yes.
She's leading the way, I think, in female investment.
It's very inspiring. I went to her conference, the Stella conference, a couple months ago, and it was just women superstar show,
helping women,
and it was incredible. And you know, to see female investors, you know, supporting female founders, and so many new and upcoming female founders who are working on women-centric issues to really, you know, really help change the world. And it was so inspiring.
Let's go. That's what she and I used to say, because her daughters dance with mine. So Olivia, thank you so much for joining us today. I want everyone to go to your website, kidscarefinder.com, and on social media, KidsCareFinder. You're helping parents all over the world, which is also helping employers, because that's helping keep their employees employed. This is helping everyone. Thank you so much for what you're doing. I love your van out in the front. We need a visual of the van.
The KCF mobile, yeah.
Yeah, it's all studded out.